Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about all the players that we all should be keeping an eye on for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 16 matchup versus the Detroit Lions. Let's not waste any time. Let's get started with the first player that I want us all to keep an eye on, which is going to be Buccaneers now starting running back Leonard Fournette. I just mentioned this in the previous video. I'm going to mention it in this video. Ronald Jones is probably not going to be playing in this game. In fact, I would go as far as to say he's probably doubtful to play in this game. So Leonard Fournette will get another chance to start at running back in his game versus the Falcons. He did have 2 touchdowns. He didn't get the ball a ton. As a runner, I believe he had around 14 carries. As a receiver, I don't think he had many targets thrown his way as well, but he did have those 2 goal line touchdowns, and I believe he had 3.5 yards a carry, which is not bad. I'm very happy with those results. Around 3.5 to 4 yards a carry is completely fine with me. I have no problems with that. So let's see how Leonard Fournette does. He was inactive for that Vikings game. He came back, did a pretty solid job, and now he's getting a chance to show what he can do again, not just for potentially getting re-signed for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but also he's going to be a free agent after this season. So he's auditioning for other teams as well. It's a very solid opportunity for Leonard Fournette. Right now as it stands, I don't know if Leonard Fournette would be a starting running back if he were to sign with a different team, because I've really racked my brain about this, and there's not a ton of teams that I can think about who have a super open spot at their starting running back position where Leonard Fournette could slot into that role. Even the Jacksonville Jaguars, the team that got rid of him, now they have James Robinson, so they're fine at running back as well. Maybe the Jets, now that they got rid of Le'Veon Bell and they're starting a 37-year-old Frank Gore, that could be a team that might consider starting a guy like Leonard Fournette. But right now, there aren't a ton of teams out there who it would be a wide open shot for Leonard Fournette to have a chance to be their starting running back. So I don't know. I don't know if Leonard Fournette's going to re-sign with this team. I have no idea. We will talk about that at a later date. But I will say that this opportunity is very good for him to be getting a ton of carries, both as a runner and hopefully they give him more targets as a receiver. I know he has struggled a little bit in terms of catching, but he can always improve on that. And it's always good to get that reps anyway, just to get that practice in there. But this is a very good opportunity for Leonard Fournette to show what he can do, show he's still got some juice. He's still a very young guy. I believe he's 25 years old. So let's see if he can make the most of his second opportunity now that he can be a full starting running back for the second game in a row for this Buccaneers offense. The next player that we are all going to be keeping an eye on is going to be Buccaneers outside linebacker Shaq Barrett, who right now as it stands has 8 sacks on the season. I believe he only needs 2 more to finish the season with double-digit sacks, which I do think he will get that. Could he get 2 sacks in this game versus the Lions? I do think that is pretty possible. But even if he doesn't, I still think that he will possibly get 1 sack in this game and get another sack versus the Falcons, and then boom, there's your 10. So yeah, there's been a lot of criticism early on in the season about Shaq Barrett and how, he wasn't finishing on plays. His sack numbers should be better. I will say that, even myself thought, Shaq Barrett should be finishing on more of these plays. Sure, the advanced numbers still say that he is a pass rushing, all-star basically. He's still one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, but I do want to see those sack numbers up. Now we're starting to see that a little bit more. He's starting to get things going again. He's starting to warm up, I guess, and hopefully he's got a ton of momentum in recent games where he's been generating a lot of pressure, getting to the quarterback a lot more, finishing on some of those pass rushes and getting his sack numbers up. So let's hope that he can keep on going, keep on bumping up his numbers, and get to that double-digit sack mark. Bruce Arians said again in a recent press conference that he's not going anywhere, so I would assume that Shaq Barrett is going to sign some type of long-term extension with this team, maybe a couple of years, maybe 3 years, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. I would say at least a 2-year extension could definitely be in the cards for a guy like Shaq Barrett, because the coaching staff loves him. I imagine the front office loves him as well, and let's just hopefully see if he can finish the season strong. He is still, in my opinion, one of the better pass rushers in the entire NFL, and let's just see how he finishes the season. The next player that we all should be keeping an eye on is going to be another Buccaneers pass rusher, this one being Jason Pierre-Paul, who is at 9.5 sacks on the season. He only needs a half sack more to get to double-digit sacks again. He is going to get that. I have no doubt about that in my mind. He needs a half sack in 2 games. JPP has got this one covered. He is also a Buccaneers Pro Bowler. Don't worry, I will have a whole video talking about that, so congratulations to Jason Pierre-Paul. And him and Shaq Barrett have been a very solid pass rushing tandem this year. It hasn't always been pretty, but it's been solid enough to where you can say, okay, that's a very solid pass rushing duo. Shaq Barrett is probably going to be getting some type of an extension. Jason Pierre-Paul is actually under contract now for, I believe, next season and maybe the season after that. It might just be for next season as well. I'm not sure. You guys can correct me down in the comment section below. But the reason I have both Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul here is because I want to see them both finish with double-digit sacks. They're playing what is not the best offensive line right now in the Detroit Lions, so this is a very golden opportunity for them to both hit double-digit sacks in this game if things go extremely well. And maybe even Devin White, he's at 8 sacks right now, gets 2 sacks in the next 2 games, he'd be there, which would be awesome, by the way, to have 3 double-digit sack guys. And the Buccaneers blitz so freaking much as a defense that, yeah, this is a very feasible thing right now. So let's pay attention to all the guys who are on track to get double-digit sacks, that being Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, and, just because he's not on my list, but I'll throw him in there, pay attention to Devin White as well. The second to last player that I think that we should all keep an eye on is going to be Buccaneers wide receiver Antonio Brown, who had a really good game last week versus the Falcons. He had his first touchdown since returning to the league on a, just basically a fly route from Tom Brady. Great connection, great throw, great catch, all of the above. Great play. So I want to see if Antonio Brown can build on that momentum that he gave himself in that most recent game versus the Falcons. Maybe he has a good game versus the Lions. Maybe he has a good game versus the Falcons yet again. And then going into playoff football, he's looking more and more like the Antonio Brown that we have seen in the past when he is one of the better wide receivers in the NFL, if not, top 3. So yeah, I'm very interested to see how Antonio Brown finishes out this season and goes into the playoffs. How will he perform? Is the chemistry there with Brady? All these different types of things that we should all be paying attention to. Antonio Brown seems like he's on the right path in terms of his playing and whatnot now that he has, gotten his first touchdown since he has come back into the league. It's kind of like a breath of, fresh air, I guess, or kind of just like okay, the first one's out of the way, get to work, now let's keep on going. That's kind of the feeling I got. It's just kind of like just breathe. Okay, first touchdown, check. Now Antonio Brown, just keep on rolling. That's kind of the vibe I got from that game coming out of that Falcons game. So let's see how Antonio Brown does. Let's see how he tries to build on his momentum versus the Lions. And then finally, guys, the last player that I think we should all pay attention to is going to be Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans. You all knew that Mike Evans would be on here. I believe he is at 770 receiving yards, I think, which means he needs 230? No, that can't be right. I'm not sure how many receiving yards Mike Evans has right now, but I know he needs over 100 receiving yards in the next 2 games to get his 1,000-yard season, thus breaking Randy Moss's record and holding that record for most consecutive seasons of 1,000 receiving yards, all on his own, which is going to be a record that would probably stand for a decent amount now that Michael Thomas has not had the best season because he has been dealing with injuries. And I want to see Mike Evans get this record, and I'm sure he wants it as well. I'm sure he's going to take that playoff opportunity. Obviously, anybody would, but personal accolades are very good for contract negotiations and things like that. And it's just merit. It shows that, hey, by the way, I'm still one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Go check my stats. So I definitely want to see Mike Evans hit that record. I definitely want to see Mike Evans hit 1,000 yards. I do think it is possible. We'll just have to wait and see how this season finishes up. I think Tom Brady might even want him to have that record as well. I don't see why he wouldn't give the young guy, a record of his own. That would just be a cool thing to see, obviously. If the opportunities do present themselves for the connections with Tom Brady to Mike Evans, then, that's what we'll see. Against what is a very banged up, not so great Lions secondary, the opportunities could very well present themselves. So let's see how Mike Evans does in this game versus the Lions. Will he get over 100 yards and continue to try and be on pace for 1,000 yards for this season? Or will he have a lackluster game and just pretty much close the book on having his own record with that? We will just have to wait and see. But guys, that is going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about all the players that I mentioned down in the comments section below. What are some other players that you all are going to be keeping an eye on in this upcoming game versus the Detroit Lions? Leave me your thoughts down in the comments section below. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.